Okay, well, let's see if the machine has been programmed properly to figure this out.
Yeah, how you respond to that's tough, right? Like, what do you put back? What do you patch?
So here in round 28, we are definitely looking at Rubius is still suffering from some massive availability outage across almost all of their challenges. Now it looks like they are still replacing, so they're possibly looking for this problem.
Maybe they're going to try one service at a time. Maybe they're going to replace them all at once. And again, every time you do this, man, that availability hit, that is a huge, because they're multiplied together, remember.
Yeah, and their total score,
Yeah.
1,000 versus 3,000. I mean,
They're a
so
third of the
each
lead.
round they're losing potentially 2,000 points of ground. That is going to hurt.
Yeah, it's really hard to kind of gain those points back by solving POVs. You really have to hope your competitors cause performance problems themselves, or maybe even if you can induce performance problems, because causing this availability hit is about the worst thing that you can do.
All right, well, round 29, oh, they have responded.
Yeah.
Rubius taking some very drastic action here, replacing every single challenge they had in play that they had a replacement, they are putting back to the original.
Okay, and one of these is clearly the culprit, right? Because if we look at the performance for the remaining services, we are seeing that they're fine. They're not impacted by performance hits anymore.
Yeah, they're doing a lot better.
Rubius patched something, and it really tanked the performance of the system. What might have happened?
So we found out that the network appliance that actually applies the IDS intrusion detection rule sets is shared amongst all the services. So we have a feeling that one of our IDS rule sets that we deployed as part of our patch set might have negatively affected the performance that apparently affected the other services that were fielded. So we have logic in place and our game theoretic component that will detect feedback coming back from the server when we know that a particular service is not performing well. And when that meets a certain threshold of low availability, we'll go ahead and retract that patch set and revert back to something that was performant. We'll essentially blacklist that patch set and revert back to something that we know is more performant.
Well, definitely. Well, I mean, that's pretty impressive. I mean, the machine found the problem.
It hurt
Whether
itself.
they might not know exactly what it was, but they knew it was something, and they responded. That they could have been dead in the water for even longer.
Yeah, and the hard part is knowing which one of those services and what do you do as a result of that. Even as a human, that's a hard problem. I've had CTFs where I didn't know when I broke something, what I broke, or when the service polar caught it, and so I've had to go back and revert things that were probably good patches just because I wasn't sure what it was. And they might be vulnerable on some of these services now, but it's better than losing that huge hit to availability. Although it is worth pointing out, some of the other teams have availability problems too.
Mm-hmm. But definitely not that massive across-the-board failure like we just saw with Rubius. Well, let's take a look at the scoreboard and see how
I want
this
to know
has
how that
affected
impacts them. Let's see. They were standing strong in third there for a bit beforehand.
So before this outage, Rubius was in third. They have fallen. They have fallen to fourth place.
And that's a pretty big gap,
73,000
too.
points. I mean, that's a big gap between third and fourth right now.
They're down by again almost 10% in terms of total score.
Yeah, and we can see here how that green line really dipped the last few rounds.
Yep.
That is going to hurt.
And even Crispy had a sort of smaller dip as well at the same time, but not nearly as hard, not nearly as far. And we're definitely seeing a trend where your sort of overall score is best predicted by your availability. That seems to be the key so far. And the key to Mayhem's strength has been solid security, solid evaluation, but most importantly, solid availability.
You were battling out with Rubius for a while, and now you've actually firmly taken lead with an 8,000 point lead.
Yeah, we're very excited to start building up a lead. I think our strategy to patch very carefully. We try to infer when teams are attacking us, and only patch when we think someone is exploiting us. In that way, we don't incur the issue where our patch is not performant enough.
I see.
And we don't lose availability scars.
So we mentioned a few times with generic patching versus like a scalpel-like approach.
Right.
What do you employ both?
We do. We really try to field an agnostic patch that would protect against any vulnerability, in theory. It has been our experience that most binaries have multiple vulnerabilities, and we were worried that we would patch one, like find and patch one, and another team would find another, and then we would have to patch twice, which is very expensive.
So really exciting. Megafish has come from, I mean, they were in last place
at the
early
very
on
beginning,
in the game, and now they're in third. What a climb! I wonder how they're feeling.
And this is their response. Their team tweeted out this in particular to show how excited they were to be rising. And again, as a reminder, third, second, and first are the money-winning spots, so it's a good place to be.
So Shellfish is a really fun team. We've known them throughout the CTF circuit.
Yep.
They've been around for a while.
Very long time, yeah.
Very good attitude.
I mean, Shellfish in general, of course, is quite old. I think we're the oldest CTF team now that kind of still exists. We always play in a lot of CTFs, and when the CDC was announced, the thinking was like, holy cow, this is the future of hacking, right?
This was hilarious.
They owned me actually. This was kind of fun. So not only did they try to hack their opponents, but one of the things they did actually broke our visualization system. So the system we use to generate traces